Hello everybody, we are back in the lab again, and today we are brewing the 6th Doctor and Peri Brown. And I have to take my hat off to Gavin Verhey and the entire design team. This set looks fantastic. Hello everybody and welcome to Nerd Lab. I am so glad to be back. I'm recovering from MagicCon Vegas. I had a blast. I met so many great people there, artists, other content creators, and just lovers of magic in general. I got lots of cool stuff from the shops, the event itself, made tons of trades. I mean, check out these sweet Judge promo, Smothering Tithe, and Parallel Lives. Finally traded for a Tolarian Academy. So now I'm only a Gaia's Cradle away from completing the set. I'm making it an annual trip, so if you go, let me know. We'll make some trades, play some games, and have a great time. We're still doing the Dominator Remastered giveaway, but enough with the announcements. Without further ado, let's get into the deck tech. The 6th Doctor is a 6-mana Time Lord Doctor for 4, a green, and a blue. He reads, whenever you cast a historic spell, copy it, except the copy isn't legendary. This ability triggers only once each turn. This means if you cast artifacts, legendaries, or sagas, you can make a token copy of that permanent once per turn. This deck's other commander is Peri Brown. She is 3 and a white, and she reads the first historic spell you cast each turn has Convoke. Convoke basically means that while you're casting that spell, you can tap other creatures on your board, and they can pay a mana in that creature's color identity. For example, if you were trying to cast Esper Sentinel, all you have to do is tap Peri Brown and she will pay for the white mana cost. Nice! So far this deck has a pretty consistent style of play. Turn 1 land, turn 2 mana rock, turn 3 Peri Brown into a turn 4 the 6th Doctor. And after that the deck really gets going because you're able to cheat out some big historic spell. Like Arcanus the Omnipotent! Which is super sweet, but the problem is, the 6th Doctor says this only happens once per turn, and Peri Brown says it's only the first historic spell that you get to cheat out with Convoke. But that's why, in this deck, we're introducing... Flash! Savior of the universe! That's right, Flash, because it doesn't say whose turn it has to be, it just says it happens once per turn. Gandalf the White lets us cast our legendary spells and artifact spells as if they had Flash. And Heliod the Radiant brings back an enchantment from the graveyard to the hand, and then for 3 and a Phyrexian blue, you can flip into Heliod the Warped Eclipse, which says you may cast spells as though they had Flash. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each card your opponents have drawn this turn. This is recursion, this is Flash, and this is more mana reduction. Yeah man, this is pretty good! I also added Leyline of Anticipation. I know it's not an artifact or a legendary, but if you have it in your opening hand, you can cast it for free. And last but not least, Josh Lee Kwai's pet card, Vidalcan Orrery. 1 turn is good, but 4 turns is really good. And now it's time for Ramp. We're in green, so I did put in Cultivate and Kadama's Reach, but this is a Historic Matters deck. So I threw in Arcane Signet, Commander Sphere, Mind Stone, Soul Ring, Talisman of Curiosity, Talisman of Progress, and Talisman of Unity. This deck is more meant to cast these big, cool, legendary spells, but it is kind of nice that when you don't have those spells, you can pay 2 mana for an Arcane Signet and get 2 Arcane Signets. And if you have a token doubler out, you get even more. That's Value City, baby! We also have some mana dorks, but Marwyn the Nurturer is by far the best one. Not only does she get huge and tap for a bunch of mana, but there's a really sweet infinite combo with her, Reese the Redeemed, and some sort of haste enable like Concordant Crossroads. And now it's time to draw some cards! Card draw! I already told you about Arcanus the Omnipotent, and of course you all know my boy, Benny Brax. Hey! And then we got some commander staples like Esper Sentinel and Fibblethip the Lost. But the MVC of this deck is Chulane, Teller of Tales. We all know that Chulane is pretty stinking broken. At least one of them is. But what about if you have 2 of them, 4 of them, 8 of them? It honestly gets to a point where you have to use that bottom 3 mana tap and return target creature you control to its owner's hand ability to return himself to your hand so that you don't draw yourself out. So that's your ramp, that's your card draw, but what this deck really wants to do is make token copy. Boy out. Hey, boy! And there were lots of candidates for this, but Old Gnawbone took the cake. Having multiple Old Gnawbones turns any bit of damage that you can sneak through into tons of treasures. I like money. So there's our value. What about our win con? Win con! Well, normally we're going to win through combat damage. It is kind of nice just dropping an Avacyn Angel of Hope and getting a copy of her, and then dropping an Elspeth Sun's Champion and getting a copy of her, because yes, Planeswalkers are legendary and will be copied. So with the first Elspeth, you can make a bunch of 1/1 White Soldier creature tokens, and with the other Elspeth, you can destroy all creatures with power 4 or greater. Or if you have Doubling Season out, then you can go ahead and hit her ultimate and give all your 1/1s +2/+2 and flying. But I think my favorite win con with this is Reese the Redeem, because when you cast him, you're going to get a token copy of him. And that's important because if you have something like Concordant Crossroads out, you're going to be able to continually tap him to make a copy of himself, to make multiple copies of himself, to make multiple copies of himself. So all you need is some sort of infinite mana. Well, with Marwyn the Nurturer, not only are you making more copies of her, but these are elves coming into play, which is making her bigger. So as long as she's tapping for at least 6 every single time, which will happen because tons of Reeses are coming in, tons of Marwyns are coming in, you can keep the loop going. And so after you've made a billion Marwyns and Reeses, you can just attack in with them because they already have haste. Time traveling elf ball. I like it. The 6 Doctor and Peri Brown are incredibly fun. You really do get some new synergies that I've never seen before. And it really doesn't restrict you to a Legendary Matters deck. You can make this a Planeswalker Super Friends deck because you're making multiple copies of Planeswalkers. You can make it a Saga deck. You can make it an Artifact deck. Or you can go to my Moxfield, which will be in the link down below, and you can check out my Legendary Matters 6 Doctor and Peri Brown deck.